Hey folks, Tim Newman with Soft Lite Studios bringing you another daily assignment. This time for September 14th, 2019. Our assignment today is titled Bugs. Now, don't let this assignment bug you. Given its size, you should be able to manage it. Perfect time of year to grab these little critters, especially in the cooler mornings when they can't quite move as fast. You know, kind of like me. Remember to move in close and grab their armored little personalities. All right, let's take a look at some sample images. In this first sample image, I thought, wow, celery, let's get the peanut butter. And then I realized I can't eat this. At least it doesn't seem all that appealing. I like the green color cast here. I really like the diagonal that we have working across this frame. And I really love that little peak of complementary red color from underneath this little cool cat. All right, what I really think is cool about this picture is the fact that we have the shell, the green iridescent area of the bug, sharply focused, and we can see that texture in that shell, and we can see the water drops here, and these water drops are from morning dew, and that's the best time to shoot these guys because they're cold-blooded and they don't move too fast until the sun warms them up. Let's take a look at another sample image here. Okay, this is not a bug, though it's possible she might bug somebody, but I think she's just thinking about bugs, and she's getting ready to go out there and photograph some bugs. What I really like about this image is we've got this nice division here in rule of thirds, whether you see it or not. We've got a really nice color set here, if you think about it. It's still green and some reddish tones in there, so it's kind of a complementary color set working there really nicely together. And quite frankly, a lot of people would have been tempted to grab the whole subject and make sure all of her was in the frame. I think this is the perfect way to do it. You don't need to necessarily have every single part of the person. This conveys the message in a very effective way. Let's take a look at our elements of design that we're concerned with here. We are thinking about shapes here, the shapes of bugs, right? And when we have shapes and we have the right light and we have the right texture and shadow, we get form out of that. So look for that. Last but not least, with these bug pictures, these macro pictures, one of the things that really solidifies them, brings them home and sells them, is thinking about color sets, especially complementary color sets, analogous color sets, and your split complementary color sets. If you don't know what those are, go to color.adobe.com and check it out. All right, let's take a look at some more sample images here. All right, another rule of thirds shot. Super effective use of depth of field here and bokeh and the specular highlights in the background. I love the texture and the little fuzzies on this bee as he is in here gathering up some pollen and some nectar. But what I think works super well here is the purples, the yellows, and the greens. They all just pop off one another really well. And even that little splash of that complementary red up at the top doesn't hurt. All right, here's another one. This is a really killer point of view shot. He is definitely in focus. He is the midfield focus point of the shot. We have a nice diagonal working across the background there, and we even have a really kind of cool glowing green there in the background to kind of offset and set him off. He has got kind of shades of red in him, so it's a good complementary exercise here. Now, I will point one thing out here that kind of sticks out in my head when I see this. I don't really like that little branch sticking up in the background, but sometimes with these macro subjects, you gotta go for them when they're available and shoot what you can get. All right, one last picture here. This is really working in closely, and this is where depth of field becomes a real problem. You probably know by now that the closer you get to the subject you're shooting, the more and more that your depth of field reduces in terms of that measurement. It becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, down to that 32nd and even 64th of an inch. It gets really tough to work here. That's why it's so hard to get these macro shots, because you got to be rock solid and not move and be spot on with your focus. And you can see right here, this bee is not a big critter. And we have areas on this bee that are in focus and areas in the foreground and the background that are immediately out of focus. We're working at a 32nd of an inch here. So where focus is critical. And I think it's perfect here. It's right on his face where he's in there getting nectar out of that flower. And you can see that he's got pollen all over him from his efforts here in this sunflower, which I think is really super cool. All right, I love the diagonal here. And of course, the managed color sets. What would you call this? This is monochromatic, no question about it, and it's done really well. Let's take a look at our rules of composition that we're thinking about here. Balance is critically important. We're seeing it in a lot of these shots. We're thinking about subject balance. We're thinking about asymmetrical balance a lot with bugs, unless you have a whole collection of bugs all lined up neatly, which is cool, but hard to get. And we're also thinking about color balance. Point of view matters here. You got to get down on their level. Standing up straight and shooting down on a bug just gives you a nice bug identification shot. Getting down at the bug's level and staring them in the eye, well, there's some personality. And last but not least, color theory. We make sure that you work that in here to these shots and think about it. All right, our format specifications. If you are going to send this to us for the semi-monthly image critique, please export the image as you see on the screen here. Also, here's an example of a file name for today's date and our naming standard. If none of this makes any sense to you, please take a look at our Update 01 video, for which there is a link in the description down below. Next to that, you will find the link for the upload URL. Makes it easy for you to send those images to us. And also down there, off to the right, you'll find that subscribe button. Don't forget to click that one. It's a really cool link. Get out there and shoot some bugs. And remember, while you're shooting these bugs, learning equals skills. Practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.